Welcome to Designer Digital's bi-weekly tip, December 13th, 2019. This week, how to save and reuse recolored embellishments in Photoshop and Elements. For this tip series, we've been walking through ways to recolor embellishments and template components in Photoshop and Elements. We've used the hue saturation adjustment layer method to customize embellishments in kits and on templates. This week we'll explore a great way to save recolored template components individually so that you can reuse them again on other projects. The templates at Designer Digitals are loaded with beautiful and exciting embellishments. And if you're like me, sometimes you see a page element that really speaks to you and you find that you want to use it again and again and again and again on new projects. When you find a template component like this, it's really handy to know how to save it to its own file so that you can stash it in an easy to find place and have it at the ready for your next project. Here's how. In Photoshop and Elements, begin by opening a layered template that contains the embellishment you want to save. For the sample, I'm using Studio DD Layer Works number 1153, so that I can grab the cute striped bow in the center block. Using the Move tool, which is the first tool in the tool bin, click on the layer of the item that you want to save. That layer will become highlighted in the Layers panel. Right-click or on Mac System Control-click the element layer in the Layers panel and choose Duplicate Layer. This brings up the Duplicate Layer dialog box. Give the embellishment a name by typing it in the As box. So I'll give it a new name, something like Striped Bow. And then under Document, choose New. And that'll put it on a new document of its own. When you click OK, you'll see that the element will appear on its own new transparent document. It's likely that the window will be far too large and you'll want to trim it down. That will help reduce the size, and it makes it easier to see in the thumbnail when you're looking for the item later. You can use the crop tool to trim away the background. So you can get the crop tool and then just drag down the corners, or you can draw out where you want it to be cropped. I'm just going to do a large crop here and then zoom in and then do another closer crop. Be careful not to trim away any of the shadowing if the element comes with a drop shadow attached. I sometimes find it helpful to create a new white layer. So I'll come over here and I'll press the Control on a Mac system, that's a Command button, and the Create a New Layer icon. And that puts a new layer underneath the layer that you're working on. And then set your foreground color to white by pressing D and then X, and then get the paint bucket tool and fill in that background layer with white. With the white layer underneath, you can see more clearly where the shadow begins and ends, and you can avoid accidentally cutting into the shadow and getting a weird flattened effect. Now there is a trick for embellishments without shadows, like brushwork. So let me go ahead and delete this layer that we created. And also I'm going to remove the shadow so that it's just a regular layer without a shadow. So to do this, you just select the image and create a stroke layer by clicking the FX icon. You can either click it on the right side of the layer or you can click it down here and choose Stroke. In the Stroke dialog box, you want to give it a stroke of about 10 pixels, maybe 15. And for the position, choose Outside. Color doesn't matter at this point because you're going to delete it later. And then click OK. Once you do, then you get this nice stroke. And so that you can come in here with your crop tool and you can crop all the way down to the edge of the image. And you don't have to worry about cutting anything off. But you can get super close using this stroke method. Alright, once you get it trimmed, hit the check mark to confirm, and then double click the FX icon and remove the stroke by unticking this stroke box, and then click OK. Now, if you're working in the full version of Photoshop, You can also do the trim function by applying the stroke and then going to Image, Trim, and choosing Transparent Pixels, trim away top, left, bottom, right, and click OK. That gets it as close as you're going to be able to get without cutting anything off. And then again, double click the FX icon and remove the stroke. And click OK. With the window trimmed, you can recolor the embellishment one or more times using the method illustrated in the previous 2 tips. I really like to keep a stack of recolored items in one document. So I just select the embellishment layer and press Ctrl J. On a Mac system, that's Command J on the keyboard to duplicate the layer. So you'll see now there's a striped bow and then there's a striped bow copy in the Layers panel. Select the copy layer and then give it an adjustment layer by clicking the new fill or adjustment layer icon and choosing Hue Saturation. At this point, you can give it a new hue. Okay, I'll choose that, and I will choose the clipping mask icon so I can attach it just to that layer. And now I have a red bow. Underneath the red bow, if we hide the red bow, you can see that we're back down to the original color. Now what I really like to do is after it's recolored, I like to select both of the layers, the hue saturation layer and the bow layer, and press Ctrl E on the keyboard to merge those 2 layers. So now I've got a red bow and underneath I have an orange bow. And you can toggle these layer visibility icons to see a different layer. And then you can just repeat the process. Ctrl J, I drag it up to the top and give it a new adjustment layer. Hue saturation, choose a different hue. There's a purple, that's nice. And a clipping mask. And then select both layers and press Ctrl E or Command E on a Mac system. So now we've got purple, and we have red, and we have orange. So you could keep going and get a variety of colors, a whole rainbow of colors of bows just right here in this one document. Remember that you can also choose the colors from the project that you're working on by using the eyedropper tool. When you finish this, save the document as a PSD or layered file. So go to File, Save As, and then give your new document a new name like Striped Bow Variety of Colors. But choose Photoshop as your file type and then click Save. That way when you reopen it, you'll have all of your colored layers available to you. If you want to see all of the colors at once on your preview, what you can do is you can create a file by going to File, New, and creating a new document. And then you can come over to the layers that you created and holding the Control key on the Mac system, the Command key, select all of your layers at one time and drag them onto the new document. And then you can drag them apart from one another so that you can see all of the colors that you have. At this point, I would probably trim the document down so that we don't have a lot of wasted space. But then you can save this new document as a layered PSD file, and you would be able to come in here and get any one of these colors. You may want to consider coming in and double clicking the name and typing in purple bow, or give it a more descriptive name, like the name of the kit that the color matches purple bow. And then double click the red one and give it a new name. And then finally I'll go ahead and crop this down and save it as a Photoshop file. Using these ideas, you can develop a large library of your favorite template embellishments. It's a great way to stretch your scrapbooking budget and reuse your favorite items. There's a lot of information in this tip, so if you get stuck along the way, I'm really happy to guide you. My contact information is always available in the credits. Thanks so much for watching this week's video, and be sure to check back in 2 weeks for another Designer Digitals tip.